Lego Star Wars always picks a location out of the films to primarily make the sets for. For example, episode 1, they have a lot of sets based off the Battle of Naboo. For episode 2, they of course have a lot of sets based off Geonosis. For episode 3, they have a lot of sets based off Kashyyyk. For episode 4, they have a lot of sets based off Tatooine. For episode 5, it's Hoth, and for episode 6, it's mainly Endor. But let's go back to episode 5 really quick. There were 3 planets primarily featured in The Empire Strikes Back. For the first 40 minutes of that film, we are primarily on Hoth, and we're seeing all our characters, live life there, not to mention, have the big battle of the film there. Then while Luke's training off in Dagobah, the rest of the gang is inside that space lug, and then everybody meets back at Cloud City. Which leads me to the topic of today's video. What is LEGO's problem with Cloud City? What's going on, everybody? GT Bricks here, and today we are discussing Cloud City. But this time, I'm not just going to talk about the LEGO version, because this is a problem that affects all of Star Wars toys. For some reason, even all the way back in 1980, toy companies just weren't that enthusiastic about Cloud City for some reason. And I think this is a big problem. Now, yeah, when you're a toy company, the first thing you're going to think about is, what do I want to primarily push out into the market? Do we do this big battle that happened in the snow at the beginning of the film? Or do we do this city in the clouds where the film pretty much concludes? Both planets have extremely important things happen in each of them, no doubt. And I'm not saying that Hoth sets are bad by any means, but I'm saying maybe we're getting a bit too much from Hoth and not a lot from Cloud City. It's kind of the same problem with episode 2. I'll talk about that in another video, but Attack of the Clones and Empire Strikes Back have this thing where they just love making sets based off the big battle of the movie and not the other stuff that happens in the film. That's not to say that the both films don't have sets based off other planets, but when you're looking at the sets, they show some clear favoritism towards one planet over the other. But I feel like the Cloud City problem is something that every Star Wars collector can agree upon. Like, yeah, we do need a lot more Cloud City stuff. Like, all the way back in 1980 when The Empire Strikes Back came out and Kenner was producing toys for Star Wars, they were pushing out a lot of Hoth sets, which, again, I get it, that's where the big battle of the movie happened. But all we ended up getting for Cloud City was just this cardboard diorama. And that's it. There's just a couple pegs there to hold your figures in place, a Cloud City backdrop, and that's that. Why? Why relegate Cloud City to a cardboard cutout when you have like 4 different plastic sets for Hoth? It doesn't really correlate. And yeah, sure, they do have the micro world that they end up releasing, but I'm not talking about that smaller stuff. I'm talking about what we're always used to when it comes to these figures. Even in 1998, I'm pretty sure that's when it released, we did get a carbonite freezing chamber set, and then in 2020 we ended up getting a similar carbonite freezing set, but it was just half of the chamber, and you had to buy the other half to really complete it out. Each one of these is $50, by the way. My point being that it's not just LEGO that has a Cloud City problem. It's all toys related to Star Wars. Like, I don't know why manufacturers are so opposed to the idea of giving us something related to Cloud City. Like, I don't get it. And it's a problem that I've always thought about as a kid. I'm like, why are we not getting a lot of Cloud City stuff? I love Cloud City. A big reason as to why I love Empire so much is because of everything that happens on Cloud City. That's where the most important things of the movie happen. Han Solo gets frozen in carbonite. We meet Lando and he ends up betraying his friends. And of course, Vader reveals to Luke that he is his father. And towards the end of this film, our characters finally get reunited, but they're broken in the end. Some quite literally more than others. I mean, C-3PO left Bespin with literally his whole limbs detached from him, and Luke ended up leaving with one less hand. But enough about that. Let's actually discuss the sets that LEGO did end up releasing for Cloud City. Now, I wouldn't necessarily consider it a Cloud City set, but our first, I say, visual representation of Cloud City in LEGO was the first ever Slave 1, released all the way back in 2000. Of course, Bespin is in the background. You could see it there clear as day, along with the clouds and that landing platform there. Han Solo is also frozen in carbonite in this set, where usually it always comes with the carbonite Han Solo in every Slave 1. It's a standard, you know what I mean? Like, it's something you're always going to expect. I don't consider the Slave 1 to be a Cloud City set. Sure, it does appear there, but I mean, the ship is used in all other media of Star Wars as well. You don't just see it on Cloud City like you do for our next set. Our first real taste of Cloud City in LEGO was in 2002 with the Twin Pod Cloud Car. This is a bit of a strange set for me. I don't know why they decided to release this in 2002 and not wait another year and release it alongside the Cloud City set, or just put it in the Cloud City set. No, they just released this as a standalone set. It was always weird to me seeing that as a kid as well, because I'm like, this clearly belongs in Cloud City. Why did they not release it in the same year? This is our first time getting Lobot as a minifigure, and the Cloud Car itself is a pretty neat design, but it's of course missing something pretty big. The actual set it goes in. LEGO did have us covered there, because in 2003 we got our first ever Cloud City set. Set number 10123, retailing for $100 back in the day. Our first ever Cloud City is widely considered to be one of the most legendary LEGO Star Wars sets ever, and for good reason. 15 years, this was our only option as a Cloud City set. As a kid born literally a year after this set even came out, it is just so legendary to me. It always amazed me seeing it like in the visual dictionary where I first found out this existed. And even looking at it now, I really do want this set simply because of its historical significance, man. Like every collector should want this set. It doesn't matter if you think it's bad, it doesn't matter if you think it's good, like it is just a very historical piece of LEGO. The actual set has 5 different sections to it. The first section is the landing pad in the back. Then you have the walkway to the entrance, which leads to the dining room, which is our second section of the build. Then to the right of that, you have the third section, which is the carbonite freezing chamber. Of course, you can't have a Cloud City without that. Then to the left, you have the control room, I'd say. And then the final section is the gantry, where of course Vader reveals to Luke that he is his father. Being our first ever Cloud City set, this is amazing. And it really is a product of its time, dude. Those giant bricks used for not only the base of the set, but also the landing pad. Some of the older pieces and older colored pieces as well being used for some of the play features. And I mean, the look of the set is just completely open and it is just built for play. And of course, this set is legendary for not only being the first Cloud City, but also for the minifigures. 7 total minifigures in the set, 4 of which are exclusive. The 3 non-exclusive minifigures we have are Han Solo, a Stormtrooper, and Darth Vader. Then, for the 4 exclusive minifigures, going in order of importance here, we have Leia, who has an exclusive torso, I believe, and this is our first version of a Bespin Leia as well, obviously. Then, we also have a Luke Skywalker, who has some exclusive leg printing. I think that torso is generic, and the tan look of it is fantastic. Then, we have our first ever Lando Calrissian minifigure, who is also the first colored minifigure in LEGO history. This is a very important and crucial minifigure when it comes to not only the history of LEGO Star Wars, but the history of LEGO in general. That torso as well is just fantastic. Like, they nailed the look of Lando in 2003, man. The minifigure of this set, the star of the show, is Cloud City Boba Fett, the most detailed minifigure of the mid-2000s era of LEGO. It's not even close. This minifigure is legendary for all the right reasons. And I mean, like, how could he not be? That printing still looks amazing to this day. And the fact that this minifigure is in the 4-digit number, like, if you want to buy them on the aftermarket, is just absolutely crazy to think about. I really do want to own this set in the future, and I really do see myself owning it one day, but I mean, that day isn't coming anytime soon. All I could do right now is dream and hope that one day I can find this set for not only a good price, but I mean, even just afford that price. All in all though, this set is fantastic. I don't know if it's just my nostalgia goggles on or not, but I mean, like, I'm a big fan of the mid-2000s era of LEGO, especially when it comes to Star Wars, and I still think this set is great. Does it hold up today? No. But given the time it was released in, absolutely, no doubt. Now, the next set related to Cloud City would release 13 years later in spring of 2016 with set number 75137, the Carbon Freezing Chamber. This was around the time when LEGO Star Wars was doing a lot of $25 related sets. I gotta say, this is pretty good for, what you're paying for. You get Han Solo in his Carbonite outfit, then you also have Boba Fett, and we also get our first ever Ugnaught minifigure, which was a pretty big selling point for this set. Not too much to say about it, it's just like literally a fourth of the Carbonite freezing chamber, but it's still a nice inclusion. 2 years later, in 2018, LEGO finally gave us a fully fledged out Cloud City set, and I don't think it's good. Set number 75222, released in October of 2018, a full 15 years after the first ever Cloud City set came out. I don't know if it was just the hype of just getting another Cloud City set like this, but I really did want to get this when it first came out, and I'm really happy I didn't, because looking at it now, this thing is just a cluttered mess. First of all, the minifigures. Every minifigure is highly detailed in this set. Some of them don't have leg printing, but that's not the end of the world. We get our most detailed Bespin version of Han Solo with that leg printing. It is just a fantastic minifigure. We get a new version of a Cloud City Boba Fett with, of course, printed arms and legs. And we get a new Cloud City Lando. Now, the actual set itself, I gotta say, I hate this thing. If I saw this on the shelf, and for $150 more, I could have gotten the 2016 Death Star, I'd easily go for the Death Star, like without a second thought. This thing is just a cluttered mess. I don't like this. We can't even use the excuse that, oh, it's a kid's toy anymore, because no, this is catered to adults. This is Master Builder Series set. The landing pad is a nice build, I will say that. And that exterior leading up to, the actual Cloud City looks nice. The wall detail is nice out there. Everything else, though, I can't really say the same for. First portion of this set, where it has like the dining room and like the living quarters, is just a cluttered mess. I hate the way they built this. For some of the rooms, they just don't have enough space, man. And with those sloped plates they're using, like, it doesn't help. Like, there's just not a lot of room in there. And they're using these sloped bricks on the walls, and they just don't look good either, because there's still like a big gap where you could see the other room. Like, I don't know. And the dining room itself as well, it just doesn't look good. It's not properly portioned. Plus, some of the pieces are sticking off on the side like that. You could see it there. It just doesn't look good. The hallway, though, does look nice. I will say they did get that right. But then the next section of this set, which has the torture room, the droid chamber, and the hangar for the cloud car. Oh man, they just really just threw in like every scene in Cloud City and just like called it a day, it looks like. They did the bare minimum to make this look good. The furnace room does look nice, I will say. They pretty much nailed that as much as they could. In the torture room, I think this looks nice. I think they nailed the look of it down. That red hallway as well looks great. It's just, like, again, they just cluttered everything up. It just looks way too unorganized. Then the Carbonite freezing chamber. They essentially just made this its own separate build and just, like, attached it to the set. I really feel like they should have done a lot more with this. I don't know, add like another bridge leading on the other side, just like going somewhere else. Add like an area under there where Luke can jump down and like go to the bottom like he was in the movie. They could have done so much more with this. I get they added the play function there, which is pretty important as well, and it does get the job done, but I mean, it's just, they just, again, just did the most bare minimum job with it. And last but not least, the gantry. I think the gantry looks great. I think this is like perfect what they did with it. The most they could have done with this, you know what I mean? Like, it is as good as it is, given, where it's placed in the set. But all in all, this thing is just a cluttered mess. And like I said, when this first came out, I was excited at the prospect of a new Cloud City set, and I wanted to get it for that reason. But honestly, it's a good thing I didn't end up buying it, because this thing is awful in my eyes. I don't like it. The build is way too cluttered. It's just a mess all around. And they try to divide it up with these like gray builds on the top, like splitting the 4 sections. But I mean, again, it just looks like everything is seeping into each other. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but for me, it's just bad. This is not how you do a Cloud City set. Then the latest Cloud City set at the moment of making this video, at the least, is Bespin Duel set number 75294. It was exclusive to the Lego store and Target.com because it was originally planned as a Star Wars Celebration set, but that didn't happen because of COVID, I'm pretty sure, so they ended up just doing an online release, and they retired it by the end of the year. It was a nice little like prelude to what they would do for the dioramas eventually. I mean, it does look like a great set. Don't get me wrong, it's just like, I really wish we would get more Cloud City stuff. And that ultimately leads to like the biggest point of this video and what I talked about at the beginning. This is everything we have for Cloud City, by the way. Not including the Slave One, as I was just talking about that because Cloud City was in the background and I was explaining that I don't consider this a Cloud City set, but we have a total of 5 sets related to Bespin. 27 years of Lego Star Wars. Can you believe that? And get this. Dagobah has had a total of 3 sets in Lego Star Wars. Can you believe that? One in 2004, one in 2018, and one in 2022 with that diorama. And the Hoth sets, I don't even know where to start with the Hoth sets. Now, yeah, like I said, I get it. As a toy company, you want to make sets like that are going to appeal the most to kids. Like, where did the biggest battle happen? Of course, on Hoth. But that doesn't mean you have to completely forget about Bespin. There are so many important things that happened on Cloud City. Like, you can't just push it to the side. You can't just release this $350 hunk of junk and call it a day. That's why we need more sets based off Bespin. And again, this is kind of like what I talked about in my Death Star video. They could do an entire wave where it's like you buy the separate sets and then you connect all of them together. You get the scenes that you want, or you could collect all of them and like put them together. That's what they need to do with Bespin, I feel like, as well. Those are 2 important places in Star Wars, especially in the original trilogy. And Lego just loves relegating it to being like the Master Builder series set of that year or a UCS set of that year. Like, it just doesn't work, guys. Anyways, yeah, that's essentially the Cloud City problem. We don't have enough sets based off Cloud City, and the stuff that we do is either way too expensive to buy again, or is just not good and it's a cluttered mess, and it is just an absolute disappointment of a set. The 2003 Cloud City set will forever live in infamy in every Lego fan's hearts. I remember as a kid, I tried to replicate this set, but do it as like a setting in the Clone Wars. I forgot what the build even was for, but I remember I used this set as the basis for it. All in all though, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.